fixing to turn 47. Ages reminds me sometimes I'm not a young man, but I couldn't imagine how I felt when it reminded me after I'd had a 12-pack in me the night before.
Well, that was crazy because, we're talking about his brother. He's been, we figured up, at least 17 years sober. And on his bachelor party, Nicholas's bachelor party, he was the designated driver. I was just like, how does this work?
My brother drove me home on his bachelor party, and I don't remember it.
It was nuts because when we being around them and they're like, man, are you okay with me driving? Like, yeah, I don't care. I'm just not going to. You're fine. I'm like, okay. It was kind of odd,
For the record, everybody else at that bachelor party claims not to remember it either.
Yeah, there's
for liability reasons.
Yeah, I don't remember. What are you talking about? What bachelor party?
And again, just so everyone knows, the Ramsey brothers never changed. We still had a traditional bachelor party for my brother. Just we were the only two not drinking, or he was the only one not drinking. I was still drinking at the time.
Very true. Very true. That was a good night. What I remember. I don't remember. All right, guys. Right now, if you are around and you want to go sing and be a rock star, and they're doing it on the stage tonight at Common John Brewing Company. Karaoke started at 6 p.m. with Shane with Back Porch Productions. When I walked in, some man was singing a Tracy Lawrence song. So I stopped and listened to it for a second. I like Tracy Lawrence. And on the way out, somebody was singing Hurricane by the Band of Heathens. So if you want to go sing some tunes, man, head up to Common John for some karaoke. Going on till 9, I believe. I'll go hit Shane up. He's got every song in the free world to sing, so you can't say that that's a problem.
You could probably keep on rocking
Where?
in that free world.
In the free world. Come on, get it, son. That's what I'm talking about.
I was trying to figure out a Tracy Lawrence pun, but
Yeah, it's kind of hard.
yeah.
I had an exciting day Tuesday. I did not work. I worked on Monday. Usually not open on Mondays, but they had a yard sale. And they're like, hey, you want to be open? I'm like, yeah, sure. So I opened the food truck there at Common John. Had a pretty good day. And they had a really good day, too, selling their wares. And so went home. Next day, we're going to the Braves game. We're going to leave about 1:30. So I'm like, I got time to run to Tullahoma and go buy some baseball cards at the card shop. So I jump in the old Jeep, head to Tullahoma, turn right on Anderson Street, which is in the middle of town if you're not familiar with Tullahoma. And across
Use
the
landmarks, please. Go over the railroad tracks, turn right at the smoke shop.
Yeah, but I just kept going straight. I tried to go straight, but something impeded me from going straight. It was a deer.
Dare you say.
In the middle of town. So I'm driving, not on my phone. I'm not speeding. Of course, everybody knows I get made fun of because I don't drive very fast. And driving down the road, and I was like, what in the world is that? Oh, it's a deer. So I swerve, and it jumps, slides up my hood, and completes to completely cave in my window, or my windshield, I should say, on the passenger side. Separated from the top, everything. Like, I'm kind of processing what happened. Like, what? I'm just going to go get a box of overpriced ball cards right here, and then something jumps out in front of me.
Did you say, oh, dear?
I said more than old deer.
I bet.
So I pull over, call insurance, and I don't know. The deer's still in the parking lot. There's 3 cars in between me and the deer. I didn't know it was there. So
Waiting on the cops to get there.
Yeah, well, yeah. I was
looking for its
wallet.
insurance information.
It was.
The deer was okay.
I think it lost its wallet before it come across
Possibly.
the road. So this guy pulls up and over by the deer goes, hey, did you see that deer? I'm like, not till it hit me. I sure didn't. Oh, you hit it? I'm like, dude, you watched me. I saw your car because I thought it was my mom because they had the same car. And so he pulled up. Oh, well, you must have been going pretty fast. That deer's messed up. I said, if you say 30, 35 is pretty fast, then okay. I said, do you have a purpose? What are you doing? Well, what are you going to do about this deer? Nothing. I'm on the phone. I told the insurance lady, I said, hang on a second. I got to deal with an idiot right quick. I said, sir, I'm on the phone with the insurance right now. We're calling the cops to get them to come over here and file a report, blah, blah, blah. I said, I have nothing to do with that deer. I can't, the deer's sitting there suffering, badly. And he's like, well, you probably, better watch out from deer. I said, if you've got nothing to say, I said, you can just go ahead and go on. He said, what? I said, and I said a few other choice words. I said, you need to leave. I said, you're getting on my nerves. I said, this is stupid. I said, you're asking me dumb questions that have nothing to do with me, and you have no idea what you're talking about. Okay. Like, oh. Cops get there. They had to shoot the deer. Cop gave me the shell casing. He goes, you want a souvenir for messing their car up? I said, you dang right I do. Give me that. So I put it in my pocket. And these other looky-loos stop. And this old man gets out, and he's barely walking. I don't know how he made it. And he's like, did you hit that deer? I'm standing in front of my car. I'm like, obviously. He said, let me look at the damage. And I'm like, who are you? And he's looking. He's like, well, it don't look like it got you. I said, sir, look up to your left. Oh, my God. Well, did it kill the deer? I said, no, it's dead now. I mean, how can you not see the damage on it? I mean, I know he's old, but my God.
Now, did it only break your windshield? Did it dent up your hood or anything else like that?
Maybe a dent in the hood, but since I got that stripe going down the middle of the hood, I can't really
see
tell.
it.
Yeah, I can see where it slid, and I think its hoof put a dent in the fender right above the headlight.
Well, you're fortunate then. I mean, that could have been I've seen cars hit them going slower than that and just be totaled.
Well, it's a city deer. They go to break the glass first. Yeah. It's a city deer.
Yeah, you gotta. Yes, Garth, we're on the air. Yeah, what's up, Brian Little? Thanks for stopping by, buddy. So yeah, it ruined my day. But I was still.
I don't think the deer had too good of a day either.
No.
Well, it shouldn't have been in the city. They don't live there. They're not welcome.
Coming out of the 615 bar,
It probably was.
middle of the day.
So I still went to the card shop, got my overpriced cards. It was a very difficult drive.
Were you like
got-
Ace Ventura and shove your head out the window?
Almost had to.
Did you really?
Yeah, it was pretty bad. And then go to the Braves game. Everything's fine. Braves won. Good time. Stuck in traffic 3 times on the way down there, or on the way back, I should say. But
That's Atlanta, man, of course.
no. Well, this wasn't even in Atlanta.
Oh, where they at?
Well, they're in Atlanta, but we got stuck
Oh,
in Pelham the first time. A truck had broke down, and instead of pulling over to the shoulder, just stopped in the slow lane. Stopped.
It's the really slow lanes.
Was in. But anyway, apparently I was, or not me, but that deer was topic of conversation on several Tullahoma Facebook posts and groups over the course of that day.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, look at it. I mean, you had a killing, you had an assault on an animal, and you
police
had
shooting.
a discharging of a firearm within the city limits.
Yeah.
All in one sitting.
Yeah, they were just worried about the deer sitting there all day. It was it happened about 12:15, 12:30, something like that. And
Animal mauls local person.
it was
How
after,
was the animal? Was it okay?
Deer lives matter.
it was after 4 before they even come and got it.
Deer lives.
So everybody's taking these pictures, and I actually see one. I was like, "Oh, hey, that's me." Oh, was that you? Oh, yeah. Whoops. Well, nothing I could do though. I mean, not my responsibility to move the deer. You know, I did all I was supposed to do. I felt bad for like 2 seconds. I'm like, "Oh, it's kind of."
You just strapped it to the hood of your
That's
car
what I
and
was
just
about
drove
to say.
around.
That's I would have took my trophy with me. Cost me my premium, will you?
Run it out there and get it tagged, get your picture made with it, put it on Facebook.
Right. But you got to do that hunter stare though. All the
Yeah.
hunters, whenever they kill something, none of them smile. That in the fish, it bothers me. There's some that do, and I applaud them. I usually like their posts, but they don't smile when they kill something. I'm like, man, you should be happy. You got a 12-pointer. Hey, haha, look what I got. So they're mean mugging. I'm like, why are you sad? You just bagged a 12-pointer. Be happy.
They're a murderer,
No.
like you are now.
I didn't murder it.
A manslaughter. He committed manslaughter.
Second, that's right.
It was an act of God, boys.
Yeah.
That's all it was. Jimmy Newton there asked on the Facebook page where it happened. Anderson Street in Tullahoma. South Anderson, I believe it was. Yeah, good time. So that was exciting. So now,
I bet your blood was pumping anyway. That'll freak you out.
yeah, I wasn't freaked out until the ride home when I'm having to stare out a hole in my windshield. You know, that because I was like, oh, I can drive it home. And then I get going like 55 down the highway and that windshield starts moving. I was like, well, this could be bad. If that thing lets loose and falls on me, it'll be fine. But it's not going to kill me. But it may cut me a little bit, and I don't like bleeding.
You couldn't do like they do in the action movies, just kick the whole thing out.
Well, no, I can't do that.
I'm laughing at Danny Strickland's comment. Like, you should have sold it at Press Box 11. Be like, that would have been cool. Like, you could have had a photo of the dead deer on the side of the road. Be like, is this venison fresh? Yes, ma'am. Ran over it just earlier today.
Yeah, ran over it yesterday. Just processed it this morning. Yeah, but then I called the insurance adjuster or called the insurance company. They called me and she was like, how'd you get the car home? Did you have it towed? I said, no, I drove it. She's like, you drove it? I'm like, yeah. And she's like, okay, well, send me pictures so I can look at it and blah, blah, blah. So I sent her a picture. She had no more time than to look at the picture. She called me back. She's like, do not drive that car anywhere. I'm like, why? She goes, the windshield is falling. I'm like, it's fine. No, it's not. So that I can't drive the car now. Yeah. Which is crap.
Turned into a promotion for limited time only at Press Box 11. Come have a slice of Bambi in between some cheese and.
Yeah, no. I'd eat them. It'd be pretty good. I like venison, but it's good. All right, guys, we're going to take a little break here. We come back. We're going to talk to the one, the only David Bradley, a.k.a. Tesla Dave, who I thought was his real name for about the first 3 years I knew him. Honestly, I didn't know your last name, I think, till you ran for alderman last year.
A lot of people still don't know my
Yeah.
last name.
What's his
That's
real
okay.
Do you know his real name? Bulls?
Chris Fletcher.
Nope. That's his brother.
That'll work, though.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
take
see?
it.
Look at there.
Any promotion we can get.
Same thing. Nobody knows his name.
I didn't go to the chamber luncheon this week, and when Brent got back, he said, hey, John Fletcher spoke today, and it took me a minute for it to register. I was like, oh, okay. I was like, oh, you mean bull?
You're listening to the Everyday Joe Show, brewed by the Common John Brewing Company here on Rooster 1015 and Facebook Live.
Get the app. All right, Facebook land, we'll be back in 2 shakes of a deer's tail. Don't touch that dial.
All right, guys, welcome back to the Everyday Joe Show, brewed by the Common John Brewing Company here on Rooster 1015 and Facebook Live, episode 302. Bradley Ramsey, Bull, David Bradley. Me, the Travis Reed. It's a shame Bradley isn't here. I would confuse the crap out of me.
Yes.
Jeez. That's enough I can keep up with anyway. Before we get to Dave, we got a couple questions. Sammy Tooth, we don't know where Tooth is. He is MIA. He is AWOL, if you will. Brian Little says, question off topic. I see the boot sitting there. Would any of you do or have any of you done a shoey?
I have not.
I have not either.
We did throw a anything but a cup party, and I do believe somebody drank out of a shoe. I don't remember who it was. If I had to drink a shoey, it'd have to be a crock.
Yeah.
That way you could clean it first.
I've drank out of a prosthetic leg before at the rugby house.
No, you just told this story not too long ago.
Somebody likes to step it up a notch. Don't
So that's what sent you to rehab. I got it.
I told you I drank my quota.
Was that the moment? You're like, whoa, wait a minute.
That was way before, actually. I was still in college when that was going on.
God almighty. Oh, my goodness. And also, Sammy asked who all's wearing boots. Nobody has boots on, but David is drinking out of one, so that counts. So you're a boot guy.
I don't think I can get my foot in there.
I got boots on.
You got boots on?
Yeah, they're not cowboy boots.
Oh, yeah, cowboy boots.
Yeah, I got cowboy boots.
Yeah, Bull's a boot guy.
Yeah, I know a cowboy boot
Cowboy.
guy.
I'm a boot guy now.
They squish my toes together. They're not comfortable.
You don't like it? I like them. All right, guys, our special guest this evening, Mr. David Bradley. Tesla Dave, as he's affectionately known. And like I said earlier, I thought that was his name forever. I didn't, but I was like, if somebody said David, I'm like, David who? And then I think I did tell a fib, though. Somebody said David Bradley. I'm like, who's David Bradley? They're like, Tesla Dave. Oh!
But see, I've always known you as David Bradley, so when he texted me and asked me if I could be on, he said, David Bradley's going to be on. Then he sent me another follow-up and said, Tesla Dave. And I was like, I knew who David Bradley was. I don't know the Tesla Dave one. That's like
Yeah, it's I like Tesla Dave. That's just because everybody knows. Like if you say, it's kind of like Bull.
Yeah.
If you say Bull, everybody knows you're talking about Bull.
Yeah.
If my nickname, I've had several, but Bull and his brother call me Diesel, and it's like, who's that? Nobody knows who that is. When I say Tesla Dave, we know who Tesla Dave is.
Yeah, when you have such a common name, people get confused pretty quick. So, always growing up, I've always had all kinds of weird nicknames. But
Right.
like in college and high school, actually, since there were so many Davids and people would get confused, they actually started calling me Mr. Bradley. So for a long time, that was my nickname.
So you commanded respect even way back then.
I mean, as far as nicknames go, I learned early on, as far as nicknames go, when you get one that's not terrible, you don't complain about it. You don't say anything about it. You just let it roll.
Take Mr. Bradley over like Doo-Doo Dave or something.
Exactly. Exactly.
You know?
Doo-Doo Dave. So when we say Doo-Doo Dave, now we know who we're
Oh,
talking
God.
about.
Thanks.
Here we go.
Thanks, Bull.
Started something. So David,
So
for
then,
those,
in 2 years, when I get the text that, hey, can you be on again, David Bradley? And I'll be, you mean Doo-Doo Dave?
Yeah. Oh,
T-shirts coming next week. Oh man. So Dave, where you originally from, sir?
so all over. South Carolina, New York, New Jersey, Jersey.
Joyzy.
Mississippi Gulf Coast mostly growing up.
It was hot down there.
Yeah. But it's not so bad.
Yeah.
Being
Pre
near
or
the,
post burning Mississippi? Was it still burning?
Mississippi burning, you mean?
if you're talking about Mississippi burning, that was post. I'm not that old.
Okay. Well, I just wanted we're on radio, so we need
Oh.
good verbal cues.
I got you.
For our audience.
That was the 60s, man.
What's so?
Yeah.
Post
No,
burning.
Post
Post
definitely.
burning. There we go.
Definitely. But yeah, it's not so bad with being on the Gulf.
Right.
But now North Mississippi, which I lived in for a long time, hot, humid, sticky.
I
you
hear
know,
it's the worst.
It's not enjoyable. That's for sure. And it's not like here. You're like, oh, well, let's just go out to the lake. We got rivers, muddy rivers.
Muddy
you know,
rivers.
with alligators. So
That sounds like a fun time.
you know, you kind of want to pick and choose where you go swimming.
Yeah, not the public pool, maybe.
You know, lakes up here, it's such a dream to be able to go and swim in a lake that's clean and you don't have to worry about anything grabbing you. pulling
What? You were just talking to me about the deadly amoebas, the brain-eating amoebas.
Yeah, they don't pull you underwater though. They just eat your brain out from the inside.
Oh, like a Broadway girl. I got you. Okay. All right. I needed.
Oh yeah, you did date one of them. I remember that.
Yeah. That's a
Yeah, I
Broadway
forgot
girl.
about that. Sorry,
Yeah.
dude. I hope it wasn't. You didn't trigger him, did you? You okay?
I'm okay. I'm
Okay,
okay.
all
I'll have a tea.
Okay.
So you're from everywhere.
Yeah. Yeah.
A chameleon of some sort.
Where were you born?
Charleston, South Carolina.
Charleston, South
Charleston,
Carolina.
South Carolina.
Yep.
Beautiful place.
It is a beautiful place.
Yeah, I love South
Do
Carolina.
you know Stephen Colbert?
I don't know him personally, but yes, he's South Carolina's native son.
Yeah, that's what I figured. Well, I mean, I didn't figure South Carolina. There's two things I know about it. Stephen Colbert is from there, and it's sinking. Those are the two things I know about.
Louis
South
Bryce is from there.
Louis Bryce is from there?
Yeah.
Three things.
Well, they don't call it the Low Country for nothing.
Because it's sinking. You've blown his mind.
The more I know. That's why I come here, Bradley, to learn. That's why I come here.
Who's the really cool quarterback that the South Carolina Gamecocks had? He had the long hair. He had that one really cool season.
Tanny, it's not Ryan Tannehill.
Yeah, it's not Ryan
No,
Tannehill.
I
It's,
think his last name was like Tanny.
Something like that. Yeah,
Yeah.
but I just remember him being
Back in the early
really
90s.
cool. Yeah,
Yeah, dude, not that good, but he was a show.
he was cool. Yeah, for one season, he was a phenomenon.
Yeah. Look at Jimmy Newton. He's from South Carolina. How about that? Proud of you. Brian Little, that is a Fender Concord in the background, sir. So high school, did we go everywhere? Where we graduate from?
So I graduated from the Mississippi School for Math and Science. It's a charter school.
So now-
not a
and you're
charter
smart,
school,
too.
but well, you know, they had a quota system. You know, if you come from the right county, you didn't have to be. But it is a residential high school
Right.
on a college campus. So your
sweet.
junior and senior year. So, yeah, I went to 3 different high schools.
Jeez.
So
Were you like military family or?
no, my dad was in the Navy, but we started moving after he got out.
Oh, okay.
So yeah.
He missed that part. He's like, we're gonna move. I'm
Yeah,
gonna
yeah.
show
Well, I
y'all."
didn't have to live at like 12 different bases or anything, but we moved. We did move a lot. And then.
Well, it's
you know,
cool though. You got to see. I mean, you got to be a part of New York, New Jersey, South Carolina. That's pretty neat though. I mean,
Do not miss the cold and the snow and all
sure.
of that came with it. But
So what? Y'all just went. So the cult would be kicked out of one state, and you'd go to the next.
yeah, we were forced to flee. Yeah,
Forced to flee.
like the
All right.
Mormons, but we didn't end up in Salt Lake.
that's that Netflix special that keeps popping up on
next
my
one.
suggested list.
Yeah.
Okay, I got it. Doo Dave. I remember.
Once the tax exemption wore off, they had to move somewhere else. It's like, all right, we got to go somewhere else now.
This ran out.
That's gonna be Colt Dave.
You're gonna have so many nicknames.
I got out of it. Yeah. Hey, I mean, Mike Cardinal.
Yeah.
He called me Steven for a whole year, and I never corrected him.
Oh my God.
And I don't know where he got the name from, but we were at, there was a silent auction at Bites of Europe, the old Bites.
Yeah.
And he was behind me, and I was bidding on something, and he turned and he's like, after I walked away, he was like, why is Steven signing his name David? And
That is
whoever he's
awesome.
talking to died laughing. They're like, that is his name.
Oh, that is great.
Sometimes he still calls me Steven David.
Well,
I had somebody ask me one time. They said, "You know him?" And I said, "Yeah." And he goes, "Where is he from? How did he wind up here?" I said, "All I know is I met him at Common John. Then I went to another friend's get together. He was there. Then I went somewhere else. He just said he's just started showing up everywhere I'm at. So I'm just assuming he's cool. I've not asked any questions. I don't know his background. He literally could have just got out of prison for all I know. He's been nice to me every time I met him. That's all I can tell you."
oh,
My secret's out.
I'm gonna start getting hope to when you come over to sandwich, put your name in as Steven.
Yeah.
Yeah. So how did you end up here in big old Manchester, Tennessee?
So I got to the point where I was living in North Mississippi, and I just wanted to be somewhere where there was more hiking and, like I said, clean rivers and lakes and more outdoor stuff. And so at the time, I was dating a girl who had family up here, and just decided to move up here. In fact, I looked for houses in Murfreesboro, Laverne, Smyrna area, and there was one out in Woodbury that was right on the river across from the old mill.
Yeah.
And I drove up from Mississippi to look at it one weekend, and somebody like bought it out from underneath me. And the realtor, I was like, well, just in case, let's go by and look at it, just in case it falls through. And so we went and looked at it, and then the realtor was like, hey, there's a Manchester's right down the road from here. There's a house that went on the market last night. Nobody's even been in it. Do you want to go take a look at it? I said, sure. And this was 2006, 2005, 2006 era.
Wow. Okay.
And, it wasn't like recent years where you had to jump
Right.
on a house the second it went on.
Right.
Came over and looked at it, and it's, I loved the house. And driving through town, I came in, saw the rec center, was impressed, that a town this size had such a nice rec center.
It's very nice, for sure.
The lady selling the house lived next door. It was Miss Frances Garrison. A lot of people call her Granny that know her. She's passed away since, but she was just such a sweet lady, and I just knew that was it. So put an offer on that house.
So you've been here that long?
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah, coming 17 years.
Jeez. I thought you was like just moved here.
I know. There's a while there I didn't get out much.
Yeah.
And so like
And by a while there, he means 10 years.
Yeah.
I bet I've known of you for maybe 5-6 years,
I
possibly.
met you 2 years ago. I really thought you had just moved to town.
So there's a funny story. One day I met Craig Johnson's wife, Mary Beth, probably at Common John, and she was like, "Oh, well, what are you doing for Thanksgiving? You got any family around here?" I was like, "No." She's like, "Any plans?" I was like, "Well, why don't you come out for Thanksgiving?" So I was like, "Okay." So I go out to their house for Thanksgiving dinner, and she's introducing me to everybody, and there were some relatives of hers from out of town, and she's like, "Oh, well, this is David. He just moved to town." And she looked at me and she's like, "How long you been here?" And I was like, that time it was probably like 15 years. I'm like, 15 years? She's like, "Oh my God, I thought you were new to town and didn't know anybody. I was just being nice." And like,
Can you leave now?
You can go now.
She told you to leave.
I need that plate back.
Let me run out here and find some poor soul who really doesn't know anybody and invite
Yeah.
them over.
Oh,
good.
It was I laughed so hard about that.
Oh, that's awesome, man.
She had to tell her church group that she did not accomplish one of her goals.
That's right.
on
Right.
Thanksgiving.
Right.
Oh, that's great. Bo Burchell, he said, if you've never sat down and talked to Dave, I highly suggest it. Very good with conversations.
Oh, well, I appreciate that.
Well, he's not wrong. That's for sure. We've had some really good, I don't want to say drunk conversations, but buzz conversations.
Yeah.
Because neither one of us really get rip roaring drunk. We just get somewhere and just stay there. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Despite what it looks like here with the
Yeah.
boot, I don't. Yeah.
No, I don't think I've ever seen you drunk, even at your own party at your own house. Which, your house, I actually love your house. I'm going to say it's one of those older, big houses.
Yes. Yeah.
That's what I like about it. It's I don't say nostalgic kind of, and the color of the brick. I'm like, man, that's a nice house.
I've got a thing for older houses. Out of out of the houses I've owned in my life, which is not that many, 1940s, 1950s, and there's one. The newest one was 1966. So
Wow.
I like the older houses. A lot of character, and the one I'm in now it was built so well.
Oh, yeah. Stuff
The
was
thing
real.
about older houses, you might get older, but they stay the same.
Age. Look at him there. What, McConaughey?
I'm not sure how that math checks out.
Yeah, all I got to say, anything was like, yeah, that don't make any sense at all.
Yeah.
We didn't go to high school with math and science.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah, they were riding around drinking with me.
Yeah, I blame him for my beer intake.
Well, they definitely don't build them like that.
No,
anymore.
and you got a nice your yard, man.
Yeah.
It's a perfect place to throw a party.
Yes.
That's
yes.
for sure. And because we
Well,
went,
that is a requirement. If I buy,
gotta have
gotta have somewhere you can have a good party.
you had like a pajama party or something. You had the bunny suit on,
Yes.
and it was cold. God bless, it was so cold outside. And for some reason, he had procured 82,000 pallets. I was like, all right. And every time the fire went low, he'd just stack a pallet on it. And man, we had a fire, warm. There were people everywhere. Food, my God, there was food.
That was the very first combined birthday bash.
That was
Didn't
That's
you
a good
have the
time.
bunny suit for the big wheel race at Common John?
He did.
Yeah, you're
He did.
because you're the bunny guy as far as my
Yeah,
kids go. No,
yeah.
yep, you're the bunny guy.
Yeah, it makes an appearance here and there. If people will get a kick out of it, then I'll
hey,
wear it.
Makes them laugh. Might as well.
I almost wore it today.
You should have.
Yeah.
Man, I mean, I wore the David Bradley shirt.
Next time.
See, I said I'm gonna wear my shirt. I already had it out, de-wrinkled and everything. I was gonna wear it anyway.
He has a plethora of outfits. He was an
yeah.
astronaut for Bonnaroo.
Yeah. Yeah.
Were you?
Very suited.
One. Yeah.
That's right.
That was a repeat from the dress for the job you want, not the job you have party.
Ah, gotcha.
Because I went as an astronaut. Because I mean, why not?
I dressed up as an astronaut for Halloween one year.
Oh, I remember that.
Yeah, I did
Yeah.
win. So next year I dressed up as Hooters girl and I won.
Well,
It's all about winning.
You gotta appeal to the base.
I know.
Know your crowd.
Then last year I dressed up as Megan
Oh,
and we won, and she dressed up as me, so we won best couple. So
I've yet to not have my kids for the Halloween party
Really?
at Common John's. That's every 7 years. I've had them every Halloween,
wow.
Oh,
and I'm
Bradley,
glad. I'm not complaining.
Right, oh,
but
yeah,
I've
no,
missed. I've missed every one of those.
I've won best male, best female, and best couple. So I think I'm gonna retire now.
Was the best male when you were dressed up like the wrestler?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I remember seeing the pictures.
And then best female was the Hooters, and I got booed, but I didn't care.
but I think you caused the legislature to pass a law. Just-
Probably did. That's all me. It's my fault.
Somebody wrote their congressman. for
He
sure.
did.
Riley Gaines is doing her next episode of her podcast about you.
And then I got the deer on top of that. I'm just a terrible person.
Yeah,
apparently.
Peter's coming there in line. You about to be canceled, brother.
I am going to be canceled. I should have been anyway, probably, but it is what it is. All right, guys, we're going to take another break. Come back. We got a little bit more with David Bradley. We're going to talk about the stuff he does for the community, and a lot of people don't know that he does do this, and I didn't until got talking to him. And yes, we're going to talk about the car for sure. A little bit later, we got a Common John update. Lunchtime Theater and Music of the Week have both been phoned in, but we will get to them. You're listening to the Everyday Joe Show, brewed by the Common John Brewing Company here on Rooster 1015 and Facebook Live.
Get the
Get
app.
the app. Travis, you want to do a promo? during this break?
Yeah, let me find the thing.
That's all right. It's not like everybody on Facebook sitting there watching you look stupid.
Well, they've been doing that for 50 minutes now, or
Oh, yeah.
40 minutes.
Yeah, while he's pulling that up, so Bradley, you should know we all sit on the stage about a month ago, I guess, and we figured out we're doing a 5K along with this year's Halloween party at Common John
cool.
Brewing Company. So Kim and Michael Childress, they lined out an amazing path for everybody to take, and it's going
Yeah.
to be a fun run. We had an absolute blast. David Bradley was part of it with us coming up with names for it.
Oh, yeah, that was.
And so, but it's going to be a fun run that day, and then it'll end that night with live music and the party. So
Sweet.
even if you got the kids, maybe you might not make the party this year, but you can maybe if you
Good
make
run.
the 5K.
Yeah, it'd be sweet.
Can you find the?
Waiting on you all of this time and all of this
I didn't save her
money.
number, so I can't find the.
I don't owe you nothing.
There it is.
You're killing it, Travis.
Ah, man, literally.
Take it away.
All right, guys, we'll talk to y'all about Cheryl's Tree Service and Stump Removal. Been in business for 25 years. They've just procured a 75-foot bucket truck for all your tree trimming, lots cleared, tree removal. They do commercial and residential. They are insured. Free estimates. Call Bobby Cheryl Jr., the owner. 931-703-4476. That is 931-703-4476.
When I had my business, that's who I recommended all my customers to.
He did some. He's done some work for old Moochie several times. He lives over behind like Little Caesars in that area over there, and over near he's Jeffrey's neighbor, and a lot of old, tall trees. It's Denton Jones' old house, as a matter of fact, or his mother's old house, and every storm, one falls, and so he's had to call him several times. So Dad was pleased with it. So as long as Moochie likes it, we're all good. So y'all give him a call. Cheryl's Tree Service, 931-703-4476. Boom.
Killed it.
Killed it. I killed the first part of it. Like, literally.
Oh, God.
Got some moonshine in there, Dave.
Oh, Lord.
No.
It's the Everyday Joe moonshine. Featured at Branchwater Distillery in Winchester.
Oh.
We actually have a
Really?
drink. We have a drink on the menu.
Very nice. I thought I was. I thought I hit it big time with the sandwich in my name, but I guess I gotta work towards a
Long way to go, David.
moonshine.
All right, guys, welcome back to the Everyday Joe Show, brewed by the Common John Brewing Company here on Rooster 115 and Facebook Live, episode 302. Bradley Ramsey, Bull, David Bradley, me, the Travis Reed. We've been talking to David. I was trying to get him to drink some moonshine. He wouldn't do it because we have our own drink on the menu at Branchwater Distillery there in Winchester called the Everyday Joe. Tastes like a liquefied Jolly Rancher.
It does.
Nice.
Yeah, it does.
It will get you in trouble.
Yeah, that's dangerous if it's if it tastes good. If it tastes like your childhood.
Yes.
I think Samuel L. Jackson was quoted
Regular
as saying,
moonshine tastes
"It'll
like my
get you
childhood."
drunk." I think that's what Samuel L. Jackson said.
And he's not wrong.
Yeah, he's not.
He's not wrong for sure.
Regular moonshine tastes like my childhood, though.
When Eddie Spears would come to the house, it's a smooth. It, in fact, was not smooth.
Oh yeah.
If it burns blue, you know it's pure.
Yeah.
Man, I'm on the side deck over there at your house. Oh, my gosh. Jimmy, I'm not sure what the flavor is. It's called the Everyday Joe. It's got some watermelon, kiwi, other stuff in it. It's pretty good. Pretty good. So, Dave, so you lived here for way longer than anybody thought or thinks. You stayed in the house. You were a recluse for 10 years,
Hiding out. Yeah.
according to Bull.
Keeping a low profile.
Witness protection. That's what it is.
Cannot confirm nor deny that.
We oust a lot of people on witness protection on this show.
Oh well.
Pretty sure we might have somewhere a long time. I'll tell you off air on that one, but like no kidding. I was like, whoa, we got somebody in trouble.
Oh.
Yeah. So Dave, you do a lot of stuff for the community here, and I didn't. I knew you for a couple of years and didn't really realize that you did that. Where's that come from?
I mean, I wouldn't say I do it. I facilitate.
help.
There's a lot of it's a big group effort. Community is about everybody chipping in, and Manchester is blessed to have a lot of great people who are selfless, who are willing to give their time, their money, their, energy into helping other people out. So yeah, like, we do the fundraising parties. That's kind of organically happened. We just decided, like, hey, all these people have a birthday within a few days of each other. Why don't we just throw one big party? And then, got to thinking about, like, well, we don't want people to bring presents. That's just weird.
Yeah.
For that bunch of people and
Right.
all that, was like, it'd be easy just to say, hey, look, instead of bringing presents, let's just throw a couple bucks in a jar. Let's, raise money for somebody. Just got to thinking about, who in the community. So we decided to raise money for the Children's Advocacy Center, and then had somebody who was like, well, I'll match what you raise up to a certain amount for, I think it was RUF, which is the Redemption Underdog Freedom Fund.
Yeah.
And so that just kind of snowballed from there, and people showed up and were generous, and we had a great time, which is
That's
one of the keys of doing anything.
I agree. It just like when everybody knows we had the Tesla Dave sandwich there at the truck for a month, and Dave came up to me and was like, "Hey, how do I create my own sandwich? I don't know. Come up with the ingredients. Okay, you got jalapenos? Yeah." So he's like, "Let's do the Fabio, but it's gonna be hotter than Fabio." So put jalapenos on it. So it was called the Tesla Dave, so he was hotter than Fabio. Of course, a lot of eye rolls there on that one.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, which was fun.
Which was the point,
Right.
'cause
And
it
then-
makes people talk.
Yeah, oh,
even if it's to be like, oh my God, do you believe that?
Absolutely.
It's a better name than the Doo-Doo Dave, though.
yeah, absolutely.
But that did, surprisingly, that did not do well in the focus groups.
No,
For a food truck, don't know why.
no,
Don't know why.
it tasted well.
Oh no, yeah,
I like
yeah,
it.
yeah. The sandwich was awesome.
Yeah, and I have people still, and I left it on the menu. I can still make it.
Off
'cause I have
menu,
to- yeah.
yeah.
And I
Secret
still have
menu.
people come in and order that. I sell, I don't know, 2-3 a week.
Yep.
And then when Dave had the idea, he's like, "I'll tell you what," he said, "I'll donate $1 or whatever it was, $1 for
Yeah.
every sandwich you sell this month." And I'm like, who comes up with that? You know what I mean? Like, not everybody. Like, most people were like, "Oh, I got a sandwich. Yeah, sandwich named after me." Probably what I would do. Like, "Oh, sweet." But you had the wherewithal to think about other people other than yourself, which is weird. For me, I'm not doing that. Think about me. I'm kidding. And then you were like, "We're going to donate $1 to the Children's Advocacy Center." And I was like, "Hey, I'll match." And then Bull and Tooth were like, "Hey, we'll do it too." And just the point of it is like you care about the community so much that, hey, I got this platform here, sandwich with my name on it, but let's donate $1 for everyone. I thought it was awesome that you did that. You even thought of that.
Yeah.
'Cause
Well-
most people have been like, "Yeah, I got my name. It's all good."
Yeah. Well, it's a, people, I've been blessed in my life, and, can't, at some point you want to give back. And so,
Well,
and
like
I
that
said,
part of the cult, you have to give back, or
that's a requirement.
or is it just you feel bad from all the lamb slaughtered or something? Like,
I mean,
you got really quiet on that, Bradley. My bad, David. I'm sorry. We can move forward.
I was waiting for him to laugh. I was like, "Come on, Dave, laugh at that."
He triggered you earlier, and you just triggered him now.
I gotta leave people wondering, right?
Yeah, we got to leave. What?
Yeah. No, that's
There's some bounty hunter putting all this together.
Yeah,
Going,
yeah.
"That's the guy.
There he
He's
is.
in Manchester."
We've been looking for this guy forever.
should have changed my first name.
You should have. You did. It's Tesla.
Oh yeah, right. Like nobody will ever know. Nobody ever put those two things together.
No, not at all. Yeah, it's really cool that you do that. And yes, Jimmy Newton, he did say Children's Advocacy Center right the first time. I can never say that name right.
Oh, yeah.
I butchered, even sober, or not even drinking.
Advocacy.
Show off.
I was making sure I was getting the right word. I was like, children? What are we not saying right?
I can say children, no problem. Don't worry about it.
Well, I appreciate y'all collectively chipping in and matching that. That was really nice. It
Oh,
was
yeah.
really special, and they really enjoyed it. They put the money to very good use in this community, and it's a group that a lot of people don't know about because of what they deal with. And so it's not a group that's going to be out promoting themselves. But they do a lot of wonderful things in this community, helping prevent and undo a lot of damage to kids.
And again, just how phenomenal the group is, and not to go down a rabbit hole, but a lot of people also don't want to admit that happens in our backyard.
Yeah.
But it does, guys, and there's organizations like it, and so, good on you for being a part of it.
Well, and there are and they're just one of many groups of people in this community, the city, the county, this area, that are out there doing stuff every day. Volunteers, a lot of them are volunteers in a lot of these groups. Heck, our city government practically runs on volunteers. Even elected officials, aren't paid much.
Right,
People
no.
who serve on boards and committees, which is another way to, give back to your community if you want to volunteer for a board or a committee. They're volunteers giving up their time. So it technically costs most people who serve something because you got to take time out of your day where you would be working to serve. So there's a lot of people who just really want to give back. And I think we're blessed to have probably higher than average for a community of people who care.
I would wholeheartedly agree with that. And you talk about the advocacy center. I didn't know it was a thing until Bites did something when we did Oktoberfest.
Yeah.
That when you're on the stage where we did the crowd karaoke, I never even heard of it. I'm
Yeah.
like, oh, is this a new thing? Like, oh, it's been around for a while. I'm like, oh, well, that's just they're just not like you said, they don't really promote themselves. And I think it's a good thing. That people give to it, and they're all volunteers.
Well, there's the Children's Advocacy Center. They have staff, people who that's their job, because you've got to be trained for what they deal with.
Right.
But they're a group that they can't. It's not like for example, Duck River Watershed Society, which is something I think they've got an event coming up at Common John in late September, but they can't, they can go on Facebook and post and say, hey, look what we did. We got all this trash out of the lake or the river today. Children's Advocacy can't do that. They can't post pictures of the kids that they helped.
Yeah.
So people don't know,
Well, there are a lot more people know about them now. That's for sure. In the past 5 years, I'd say.
That is correct.
So I guess that's
Yeah.
part of the goal there.
But like I said, so many other groups like that kind of just operate and people don't really know. So if you ever think like, oh, I don't know how to get involved in the community, I don't know where I can donate my time there are lots of options. Just ask around.
I did a deal. I was on the Coffee County Leadership Committee a couple of years ago, and we did a deal for Haven of Hope, and I'd never heard of that because they have to keep it a secret,
Right.
and it's one of those deals. You're not.
Yeah.
I never got. I don't know the location.
Yeah.
We raised money for them and have no clue. Just one of those you don't know about till somebody tells you.
Yeah.
Oh, I have a few customers like that back in Mississippi that, like, I work on their network all the time and I fix problems for them, and I have no idea where they are because it's one of those groups, and they're it's like a safe house,
Right.
So, yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. You do all that for sure, man. When I'd see you, pop in at Common John here and there and talking to people, like, what's he doing here? And then I'd see who you're. I'm like, oh, well, what's he doing there? It's like, man, this guy ever go home? Like, seriously, I
Yeah.
because you'd come in, get a sandwich. Oh, I'm gonna get that to go. I'll be back. All right, you go back. You go home. An hour later, I'm still open. You come back again. I'm like, what is he doing? I'm like, geez, dude, do you ever sleep?
Yeah. No, I try to get a good night's sleep.
When?
You just got to make the time. There's a long time in my life where I didn't. I worked a lot of hours,
Right.
a lot, and I learned that sleep deprivation really takes a toll on you. So,
Tell that to that guy over there, please.
yeah.
Hey,
Yeah, we're looking at you, Bull.
hey.
You got to
Don't
have that
point at
good
me.
night's
I get plenty of sleep.
solid night's sleep.
Well, I'm just sitting here going in like what I'd love, is just if we made that model, that you do more public, because a lot of us, we have the option to come together, network, fellowship, drink, have a good time,
Yeah.
and give to a good cause. Whereas the majority of people do stuff like steal prosthetics and drink out of them.
Yeah.
I never stole
Yeah,
a prosthetic.
but-
No, whoa, never stole a prosthetic. Never stole a prosthetic.
What's up, big guy?
And I think it belonged to one of the former rugby guys, man. I just showed up at the rugby house and they had it. I know there was no, let's go steal a leg and drink out of it. It was just there. So there was no,
I thought you ran out of solo cups.
No, no.
Somebody knock over Steve.
no theft. No
his
theft was
leg.
involved.
Oh,
We did steal a keg one time.
Yes, but
Yeah, statute of limitations is out on that one.
Yeah,
We're not going to tell you
well.
where it's from.
No, but boy, you're right. I mean, I think a lot of people. I mean, if you feel like, oh, I don't know what to do or how to, like, just have a party. If it's 5 people, it's 10 people, it doesn't matter. Just be like, hey, we're gonna raise some money for whatever charity or group that you care about, and it doesn't matter if it's $20, $50, $500. I mean, most of the parties we have, I mean, this is a testament to the kind of people that are in Manchester. When we raise money at these parties, there aren't like big, huge donations. It's not like we're getting, $5,000 checks from
Right.
some big corporation. There's a few people whose business will give a check that's a decent size, but 99% of it is people like us. Just here's $20. Here's 10. That's what I have.
Yeah.
And it adds up really quick. Now our parties have kind of grown in size. I don't know at what point I have to start getting permits for them, but
That's pretty
That's-
good. I wouldn't even think about that, Like, all right, let's have a party, but hey, let's have a tip jar here for. I would have. We could have raised a lot of money back
Yes.
when we were younger.
Well, that's how the Elam Foundation started.
Yeah. I still wouldn't know.
And see, and of course, I can't claim credit for that at all. I mean, so I grew up on the Mississippi Gulf Coast, like I said, and Jimmy Buffett is big down there. That's his hometown area. And Parrot Heads, a lot of people are familiar with Parrot Heads. They have groups, and it's party with a purpose. That was always their tagline. So they'd get together at, some tiki bar or.
If you want to party with purpose, talk to Bradley. I mean, he had experience.
I had the party down. The purpose. I don't think I had a
was the
purpose, but it
purpose.
wasn't
Yeah,
what
yeah.
it was
Okay.
not what we're discussing now. That's
So it's always that's always been in the back of my mind growing up and seeing those groups do those things,
Right.
and they'd raise money for whoever, and I guess there's something to be said for alcohol and loosening up wallets too. So maybe that's it. I don't know. Maybe that's the secret, but
Could very well could be.
it doesn't matter what you're doing. There's always an opportunity, and the good thing about that is it also puts that group in people's mind. So.
Good point, man. That's just.
No.
I would not had the wherewithal to think about that.
Yeah.
Just would not. That's smart. And like you said, that's how the Elam Foundation was kind of formed. A field, a keg of beer. Hey, throw some donations, and that's genius.
And
you
know,
don't
as-
really need much more than that
You don't.
for a good time and to get, like I said, throw
Exactly.
some money in a bowl or
And
jar.
You're true. Yeah, that's true,
Yep.
Bradley.
It's about the community, about the people. That's what I always tell people about the parties that we have is it's just a lot of great people, and that's what the real purpose is to get people together, good people who want to have a good time, getting together and having fellowship, and then you're doing something good at the same time. But I also kind of remember that Manchester's grown a lot since I've been here. I think it's probably doubled in size.
Probably so.
That means there's a lot of people here who don't know about like the Dusty Elam Foundation. You'd be surprised, because it's not like you got some big building down on the square with a big sign out front, and so that's kind of a thing that you got to put in front of people,
Right.
that are especially new people, that hey, we've got these groups, and obviously, marketing is an important thing. Bull did a great presentation at the chamber
Yeah.
function on Tuesday. It was very informative.
Did you stutter at all?
I think on purpose.
Yeah.
I think he did it for like sympathy points.
So he got some sympathy
Yeah,
points.
yeah.
All right.
In between taking his shirt
Atta
off,
babe.
which I know what he was doing.
I knew he would.
I did. Took my shirt off.
You're
3
turning
times.
into
Did you-
Craig Majors.
I thought he didn't like Bert Kreischer.
he don't. You're right.
Oh, thank you. Oh, that's terrible, Bradley. Oh, now. Oh, man, you just made me realize I stole his stick, didn't I?
Yep.
That's right.
Oh.
So he loves him. All right, guys, taking a break. We come back. We got a Common John update, and then at the tail end of that, we're going to talk about your car.
EVs.
Yeah, not just his.
Oh,
You're listening to the Everyday Joe Show, brewed by the Common John Brewing Company here in Rooster on 1015 and Facebook Live.
All right, Facebook land, we'll be of a lamb's tail.
Threw up in the sink.
All right, guys, welcome back to the Everyday Joe Show, brewed by the Common John Brewing Company here in Rooster 1015 and Facebook Live, episode 302. Bradley Ramsey Bull, David Bradley, me, the Travis Reed. Time for a Common John update this weekend, jam-packed full of stuff. Friday night, we got is it Marty Brooks?
Marty Brooks, yes, sir.
And Josh Morningstar. Friday night starting at 6 p.m. outside, weather permitting. It's supposed to rain tomorrow morning.
Yeah, I don't know. It's looking more like inside than anything.
Oh, man, that sucks. Saturday night, Good Friends, Sammy Cadan, Sullivan's Hollow, and Friends, Mississippi Takeover at Common John Brewing Company. That's going to be a party.
That's going to be a party. Yeah, Sammy's phenomenal, and I don't think he hangs around with slackers.
I don't think so. He even admitted that he's probably not the best person in his band, and he's really good. So,
He is. and
Sammy
he-
is awesome.
He openly states that he is not the best player in his crew. That is correct.
So that will be a not missed show right there. Saturday night, Sullivan's Hollow and Friends, 6 p.m. outside on the stage. Once again, weather permitting. But start your Saturday off right. Saturday morning, 9 a.m. Yoga. $10 to, I won't say play, to participate, and you get a $5 beer token,
That's correct.
or use it towards food, whatever.
Whatever. You can refill your carbs after burning them.
There you go. Don't forget, bring your own yoga mat. You don't want to use LeBron's. His smells weird. Don't ask me how I know. I'm just saying. Just bring your own yoga mat. That's August 5th, this Saturday, 9 a.m. Been some really good turnouts for those things.
Several of the ladies I work with go. I want to go. I enjoy yoga.
Yeah.
You feel good after yoga.
Yeah, so y'all go check that out. Saturday morning, 9 a.m. And also, guys, don't forget, Beer Fest tickets are on sale right meow.
And if you catch me while I'm there and you're really sweet to me, I'll give you my beer token.
Look at there.
Giving back, man. I'm feeling Dave over here.
I like it.
See you there.
Good
Paying-
stuff, Bradley.
Paying it forward, Bradley. Paying it forward.
That's right. That Saturday, September 16th, 2023, it is a family reunion beer fest. Live music. There will be food trucks, 40-plus breweries, craft vendors. Also, guys, and this needs to be reiterated a lot more, I think, is there's special hotel rates. If you're going to be at the beer fest, there are special hotel rates that you can get so you don't have to drive all the way back home. So make a night of it. Get with them on that. And also, this is one of my favorite things, the homebrew competition. That is one of my favorite things to do, is to go check out them homebrews, because that's exactly how Common John started. Homebrews in the garage. And some of these guys make some really, really good beer. So y'all go check them out for sure. That is Saturday, September 16th.
If you're not a drinker either, those are still fun. I've been to several of these deals, and I have a great time. Food's always good. The crowd's always fun. A lot of good
Absolutely.
stuff going on. So it's not just for a drinker.
There'll be good food trucks and
Yep.
music, right?
Oh, yeah.
So it's Warplay, which is a rock reggae band, and they are phenomenal. They are absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah. Now, what other? I know I'll be there for sure. What other food trucks do we know yet?
No, sir, I do not know. They have been confirmed, but I cannot give those details.
Well, we'll get them, and so y'all go patronize those, the food truck brethren, if you will. And also, I think our buddy Big Germ gonna be there.
I'm sure he
Maybe?
will, yeah.
He brought me some coasters.
Yes.
Centertown Cedars.
I've got my Prolix coaster sitting on my desk at work.
Yeah, I love it, man. So y'all check that out. Get your, you can go. There's a QR code still, right, Bull?
Yes, sir. Yeah, if you're in the brewery, all you got to do is whenever you're ordering, look at the menus right behind the bar, and you'll see it rotate around. You can scan the QR code, take you right to the event, or you can go to commonjohnbc.com, and right there on the homepage is a link to take you to get your event tickets now. And guys, VIP is almost sold out. So if you want VIP experience, you need to get them now.
And the VIP, you can start at 11, where general admission is noon. Is that
And
correct?
again, like LeBron and I, we were talking the other day, guys. Some of these breweries, you would literally go there for a one-off experience, and you would pay upwards of anywhere from $60 to $100 to go in and have an experience. We are bringing over 40 of those right here. So, I mean, however you want to quantify that on a dollar value, the fact that you can see some of these breweries who are going to have some beers you might not ever have anywhere else. Or, again, have to plan an entire trip around just to go and experience it. Plus, you get to meet the brewers. Like, it is hands down a phenomenal experience. And we're going to be giving away tickets on this show and on the Rooster 101.5 here.
Oh, sweet.
That is
I
correct.
like that.
Just think about all the gas or electricity you're going to save by not having to drive to all these breweries. You can get them all at one time.
That's right. And they give out free stuff, stickers.
Oh, I got a lot of stickers and patches
Yes.
last year. It was amazing.
That's right, Jimmy Newton. Can't drink all day if you don't start in the morning. So get your VIP. Start at 11 a.m. Y'all get those. Y'all check them out. Common John BC. Get your tickets or scan the QR code if you're there in the brewery. And also, Sunday, every Sunday, poker, 2 and 4 p.m. Good crowds for the poker. That is for sure. Y'all check that out. And don't forget, guys, for all your CBD needs, go check out Greenbud Lounge on, I forgot their address already, 714 Hillsborough Boulevard in Manchester. Go talk to Joel. He's watching now, too. How about that? And happy birthday the other day, Joel. Hope you had a great birthday celebration. So if you got any CBD needs, they got this, the Miracle Stick. Here it does wonders for guys like our age, Bradley.
Oh yeah, I'm a fan. I don't know if I've met Joel, but I've visited.
Joel has a plethora of knowledge of the CBD. So y'all go check it out right there, 714 Hillsborough Boulevard here in Manchester. Green Bud Lounge. Follow them on Facebook, Green Bud Lounge 420. All right, so Dave, we're going to carry on this conversation later, I believe, but we're going to start it now.
Okay.
So you're affectionately known as Tesla Dave.
Because I drive a Chevy.
You drive a Pontiac and a Dodge and a Tesla.
Yeah.
So let's talk about your car.
Okay.
Which one?
Which one?
Yeah. I like the Firebird.
I love the Firebird.
Yeah. It's a drop top too, man.
It's a drop top. So Firebirds. So I've had several different muscle cars over my years. One thing about the Firebird I always liked, that as a convertible, it still retains that kind of mean, aggressive look that muscle cars have,
Right.
even when the top's down.
Absolutely.
A lot of them don't. As soon as you drop the top, it just looks like one big long boat.
Yeah.
And so I've always had an affinity for the Firebirds, but this is the first one that I've owned.
It's a sweet looking car.
It's very nice.
I just realized all the cars you own are red.
Yeah, I mean, currently the ones I own are all red.
Right.
I had white and some other colors before, but I was talking to somebody one day and they were like, "Oh, what's your favorite color?" And I was like, "I don't really have one." And then they were like, "I don't know. Looking at your cars, I would beg to differ. So maybe I do."
So the Tesla, what did just?
So without turning it a really long story, I'd watched them as a company for a long time.
Wait a minute. So he's not a fan of the band. We're talking
Yeah,
about
no, I'm a car.
Fan of the band too.
Okay.
Yeah,
Well,
but I'll start telling people that. Oh, I
69.
got my name because of I was in the band.
Yeah.
I was a roadie for 20 years.
I co-wrote Love Song.
That's right.
But I had watched them for a while, and despite probably popular opinion, I'm kind of a frugal person, and I just couldn't. I was like, I can't justify spending the extra money, the premium that electric vehicle costs. And I had a customer in Murfreesboro who I had a Jeep Wrangler at the time, and they saw that I had a Jeep. They're like, "Oh, I love a Jeep. I'll never have anything else." And I was like, "Oh, why? Why is that?" And they're like, "Well, my wife was in a head-on accident. She had a Jeep Grand Cherokee, and he said she survived." I was like, "Oh." I was like, "Well, how bad was it?" And he's like, "Well, she had 2 years of physical therapy.
Oh, geez.
After insurance, like $120,000 worth of medical bills.
Oh, my God.
She survived. She, got back to being close to normal." And at that moment, I thought, like, what would he pay to go back in time and have a slightly safer vehicle?
Right.
Maybe even avoid the accident. Well, he'd pay a lot of money, a lot more than that. So here I am, like, quibbling over, the little extra cost that the Tesla costs. And I was like, you know what? If you can do it, it's actually the frugal choice because, again, to avoid a wreck with a deer. So your deer story, which I saw the deer
Yeah.
driving through Tullahoma at 4 o'clock. I almost hit a deer in the Tesla late at night one night.
Ooh.
And the car stopped well before I saw the deer.
Wow.
And I thought something was wrong. Like all of a sudden it just like the brakes lock up and this deer just walks out. And so in that regard, that was the key that pushed me over. But one of the other big things for me is I hate doing maintenance stuff. Mm-hmm. Like I lost so much of my life sitting at the, car dealership getting a 4-wheel drive transfer case serviced or oil changes, spark plugs. And with electric vehicle, there's so fewer moving parts, so there's not as much maintenance. So time-wise, I get all that time back. And
Good point.
somebody much smarter than me once said, "Time is the most expensive thing a man can spend." So.
Yep.
So yeah,
They're-
that was the pivotal point for me to decide. Okay, yes, I'm going to go ahead and buy one,
And it's fast.
and it is fast. Now here's the thing: like my second car was a '68 Mercury Cougar.
Oh, yeah. I remember you telling me about that.
Yeah, and after that, I had a '69 Plymouth Roadrunner, not
yeah.
with the original motor or anything like that. It still would be a very, very expensive vehicle today. But
Oh, for sure.
But so I grew up with muscle cars. I love them. The electric vehicle is today's American muscle car.
Yeah.
I know that's some people will take they'll argue on that one, which is fine. The torque is insane. I mean,
Well, and I don't want to hear there's no replacement for displacement because my Jeep is really fast. 400 and now with the tune, it's like 450 horsepower. All-wheel drive, don't spin. It's fast. We were leaving somewhere one night where I was following you. We're going to, oh God, just one more. Oh, God, it's a bad night. So, Dave, you got a couple people in your car. He was sober, by the way. He was not drinking. He gets on the on-ramp on the interstate, and he stops. I'm like, what's he doing? Like,
He's fixing to show off, is what he's doing.
so he takes off. I'm like, whatever, Tesla Dave. So I hit my slap shift and went down to first, and I goosed that bad boy. I'm just whop, whop, whop. I didn't see him anymore. he didn't know we were racing. Like, in my mind, we're racing. He probably didn't know I was behind him. He's just showing these people, hey, this is what happens. There is replacement for displacement, and it's called electricity. Because I went to the store, I went to work the next Monday, and I was telling the guys about it, and they're like, well, yeah. I'm like, yeah, but mine, it's 450 horsepower, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, Travis, think about this. When you turn on the light switch, what happens? I said, well, the light turns on. Is there a delay when that light turns on? I said, well, what if they're fluorescent lights? They're like, shut up.
good point.
Is when you turn the light switch on, do the lights automatically come on? Yes. Yeah. Well, guess what? When he pushes the gas pedal or the accelerator pedal, it instantly goes. I was like, oh. So I knew the electric, but I'd never put it in that term. And I'm like, that's why they're so fast.
And electric motors, have a torque. The torque curve on an electric motor is a straight line. So the 0 to 60 is the same as 60 to 120, and that's what really gets you.
Yeah.
Is like the first week I had it, I think I was going to Murfreesboro and I went to pass a truck, big semi, and you don't want to stay on the side of a semi very long, so we're all used to just gunning it,
Right.
get past the semi and get over. Well, I did that, and the car is so quiet. Like, there's so little wind noise, there's so little any noise because there's no engine noise, and I just floored it like you would normally do, like I was used to. And by the time I got to the end of the truck, I looked down, and I'm not going to say the speed, but it was a lot higher than I was expecting.
Right.
I let off the accelerator. I was like, oh my gosh, like I gotta. So now I make sure I use the cruise control for that sort of thing, so that I don't get up higher than I'm expecting.
I've never driven an electric car. When you do you have to be careful letting off the gas? Will it just stop suddenly?
It won't stop suddenly, but and it's on the Teslas. And probably the other ones, but I can only really speak for the Tesla. It's an adjustable setting. It's a software setting on how much regenerative brakes you want. And I have mine set up high because, again, I don't want to do a lot of maintenance. So if you have it set, it's basically like driving a golf cart. You let off the accelerator, it starts to slow down. I hardly ever have to tap the brakes because after a couple weeks, you get used to the timing of it. The light turns red or there's a stoplight, I let off the accelerator, and about as you're getting to it, it will stop. But if you're doing 80 mile an hour on the interstate and you let off the accelerator, no, it's going to start to slow down.
But it's not going to just be like.
But 99% of the time, you're using cruise control,
Right.
and or in this case with it, you can use the autopilot, and so it's managing that. But that's a great way to use it, because if you drive that way and you don't ever really hit the brakes, you can get a 150,000 miles on a set of brake pads.
Wow.
And I mean, that's what I'm going for.
Yeah.
You know.
So in the long run, it's actually going to probably save you. Save you.
So they've done studies, and not the high-end Teslas, not the Model S Plaids and stuff, but the standard range, the base Teslas, like the Model 3, they have a 5-year cost of ownership that's the same as a Toyota Camry or an Accord.
Right.
Like, not like a loaded one. So,
which are
you know,
still very, very good cars.
they're very good cars, but once you factor in cost of gas, cost of oil changes, all that stuff, plus the purchase price, after 5 years, you're break even. But you get a car that has so much convenience on them. I mean, I like when I pull in my driveway, my garage door opens automatically and closes automatically when I'm leaving. You know, there's a lot of cool features in it. The fact that, you know, you can put it in dog mode and leave your dog in the car and it'll play music, run the air, keep the temperature, whatever temperature you set it to.
Wow.
And, you know, it displays a message on the screen saying dog mode is enabled so somebody doesn't come up and smash your window.
Yeah.
But things like that. Like, and if it's a really cold day, so people don't think about that. If your car's sitting in the garage and it's a really cold day, you can just go on your phone and tell it to start warming up. And you don't have to worry about the exhaust fumes killing you because
Right.
you're, you know, you got a garage door closed. So,
We're getting Teslas, boys.
I mean, so the thing is, whether it's a Tesla or another, I mean, it's coming, and the reason that people are going to switch, it's not because the government's going to make you do it.
Right.
It's the convenience factor and some of these features and the maintenance part. The value for your dollar is quickly getting there. Now, right now, they're still a little bit out of most people's price range.
Yeah.
And I get that. But the tipping point's coming very quickly. And again, like, the thing most people worry about an electric vehicle is range. And only thing I can say is I'm rarely ever worried about range unless I was going out into the middle of nowhere and I was going for like an overnight kayak trip where I was leaving my car.
Right.
And I knew that the air was going to run every once in a while to keep the cabin. That's another thing. During the summer, Bonnaroo, my cabin temperature never got over 100 degrees.
Jeez.
Because
have a
you
setting
can
on there
set
where
it.
you-
You can set it and say, I don't want it to be more than this. You know, so there are very few times that I've had to worry about. Now, that's not the same for every electric vehicle. They all have different ranges. They all have different charging standards, and all of that's getting worked out. But, you know, the Nissan Leaf, no, I wouldn't try to go cross country in a Nissan Leaf.
No.
I would get in my car right now and go wherever somebody said if I wouldn't worry about it.
Well, these charging stations are popping up everywhere.
Oh, yeah.
We went to George Strait the other night. There was right beside the stadium. There was 3 right
Yeah.
there. I was like, well, that's cool.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to continue this a little bit later. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to a little bit of lunchtime theater, some music of the week, 2 picks, and then a little bit later, we got some celeb and burning questions for Mr. David Bradley. You're listening to the Everyday Joe Show, brewed by the Common John Brewing Company on Rooster 1015 and Facebook Live.
Get
Get the app.
Leave
So-
it out, Travis? Or no?
No, we'll do it next one.
Got it.
So the cars.
All right, Facebook land, we'll be right back. Don't touch that dial.
All right, guys, welcome back to the Everyday Joe Show, brewed by the Common John Brewing Company here on Rooster 1015 and Facebook Live, episode 302. Bradley Ramsey Bull, David Bradley, me, the Travis Reed. It's now time, lunchtime theater. I did not message Eli about lunchtime theater. He's not feeling well, so I didn't want to bother him. So I will take it. And I mentioned a couple weeks ago, I've been watching Suits on Netflix. I was late to the game on this series. I watched one episode, and it was Meghan Markle's last episode before she went and married Prince Harry or whatever his name was. So I saw it on my Netflix suggested, and I'm like, you know what? I'm going to watch this because I did the same thing with Mad Men, and I absolutely loved that show. Suits is a great show.
Mm-hmm.
I absolutely love that show.
I watched it was on television.
Yeah,
That's
I never did. It would come on like before or after Raw, and I'd always turn
Yeah.
it, never watch it. Man, it's a good show. It's a really good show. But when I got home from work today, Megan had, not Meghan Markle, but my Megan, had texted me. She goes, hey, I just got a notification about Lincoln Lawyer on Netflix, the second the second half of the season. I was like, I think it's like this weekend. She's like, oh, I didn't know. I just saw it.
third.
Oh, yeah. So I done watched one episode of that. I'm like, that show, and we talked about it earlier, a few weeks ago. I was worried because that movie was so good that I didn't think the show would hold up. No, it holds up. It is. And you're the one that told me, hey, man, you need to watch Lincoln Lawyer on Netflix. And I told Megan, not Markle, and I said, hey, Bradley recommend this. If he recommends it, usually it's pretty good. And she's like, well, are you sure? Because she had the same reservations I had. The movie was so good. I'm like, he says it's really good. You weren't lying. It's good.
It's good. I enjoy it. It's a good show, and
love
it is not your typical just procedural law show. It's I don't want to give anything away, but there's surprises where it's good. I'll leave it at that.
Very good. So definitely, man, y'all check Suits out.
And Nev Campbell.
Oh yeah, man. She holds up.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
She's definitely holding up. That's for sure.
I've got a suggestion that's real good. Now, it might creep some people out if you like the water, but I watched this movie called Jaws.
that about?
Phenomenal. There's a couple of them, actually.
What's it about?
So, there's a shark off
But-
the coast.
I bet they need a bigger boat.
Spoiler alert.
I wasn't going to say that on the radio.
Oh, my bad.
There might be a statement in there about somebody talking about a boat of certain size.
That's just a statement of fact, though, because nobody has ever owned a boat and not thought, like, I need a bigger boat.
Thank
See?
you, David.
I
Thank
mean-
you, David. Thank you, David.
See, there you go.
Yeah.
So check Jaws out.
Again.
So there's sequels.
Just watch the first one.
Which one do you want?
What? Which one am I on now?
Yeah.
Oh, I watched the whole thing at the gym.
Yeah.
I stayed on the treadmill another 4 hours just to watch
Running
them
for
all.
his life.
Did Bo come take? Bo, you okay? Yeah. Be quiet. I'm watching Jaws.
Go back. Go wash some cars. I got stuff to do here.
So watch Jaws, Bull says, and listen to Deftones, new up and coming band.
They really have been shaking things up lately, Brad.
Yeah.
Since about 1990.
So, Toothpicks Music of the Week is a song by Northlane called Solar. It's acoustic version, and it's come out in 2017, I believe it was. And I'll tell you what, Tooth does not steer us wrong very often with the music. It's a really good, Bull, I think you would actually enjoy this song as well. It's an acoustic version. I enjoyed, I was listening to it after the karaoke video he sent me before we started the show. Really good song. So y'all check that out. And to find Toothpicks, you can go on Spotify. You can type in The Everyday, and boom, Toothpicks pop up. Or you can type in Toothpicks, boom, pops right up.
And since I'm here and I can't keep my mouth shut when it comes to music, Avenged Sevenfold, Life is But a Dream, the whole album. It's not what you're expecting. Just go in with an open mind. It is wild.
Good
and
stuff, though?
Very different. Very, as Jimmy Loveless, our dear friend, texted me, said, Avenged Sevenfold, the new album, it's bleeping weird and bleeping awesome, right? He wasn't even sure how he felt about it. I was like, agree, all the above.
He had to get some confirmation from you,
But
huh?
it's really good. If you like different, they really are exploring their Mr. Bungle, Oingo Boingo, Devo side,
Right.
but with hard rock and heavy metal mixed in there, and it's just give it a shot. Not for everybody, but if you do like it, there's a very good chance we can be friends if we've never met because it's cool.
Well, I mean, just because Ben Folds, he got offered the head of an orchestra within the last 3 years, didn't he? Was it the London Philharmonic or something, or New York?
I can't be specific on that because I don't know all, but you're correct. He did something like that.
Okay, that's. I didn't realize he'd have enough time to be able to do that and drop a new album. So good on him. Because I know it was a big hoorah whenever he took over. He done, and for those who don't know, just look it up. Ben Folds, the night that he announced he took it over, he literally composed an entire song based upon the evening's pamphlet live on stage. And it was absolutely phenomenal.
that out.
Absolutely phenomenal.
Sounds pretty
If you
cool.
got Paramount Plus, the 3-part miniseries, I Want to Rock, the history of the 80s
Yeah.
hair scene. Again, great. It is great. And you know me, I thought a friend of mine recommended it. I was like, there's nothing I don't know. Why?
Very true.
But the interviews, a lot of cool, not your typical Bret Michaels, Vince Neil, Nikki. It's Dave Sabo from Skid Row,
Sabo?
Kip Winger. A lot of, if you're a big fan of that scene, they talk to some of the lesser guys that don't get interviewed that often, and a lot of cool stories. A lot of managers. The first manager for Guns N' Roses, Motley Crue, and what was her third band? Doesn't matter. But yeah, she managed all those bands before they took off, and
Right.
her stories are really phenomenal.
Paramount Plus.
Yes.
All right.
The
sounds
managers probably remember a lot more of
Oh,
it too,
yes.
since
good. Yeah, they weren't as drunk or jacked up on heroin. All right, guys, taking the break. We come back. We got some Travis talk, and then we got some burning questions, and we're going to continue talking about Teslas until they tell us to shut it off. You're listening to the Everyday Joe Show, brewed by the Common John Brewing Company on Rooster 1015 and Facebook Live.
Get the app. All right, Facebook Lamb, we'll be back in 2 shakes of a lamb's tail. Don't touch that dial.
But that's
and I'll
what
run
in their
it.
mind they're
I don't
listening
care
to
what it
classical
costs.
music, and that's
I'll
what they're playing.
Go run it and get to 250 mile an hour.
All right, guys, welcome back to Everyday Joe Show, brewed by the Common John Brewing Company here on Rooster 1015 and Facebook Live, episode 302. Bradley Ramsey, Bull, Tesla Dave, me, the Travis Reed. Travis talk. Not much going on this week except for we'll be closed this weekend because got some media passes for the Big Machine Grand Prix in Nashville.
Sweet.
So we're going to get to hang out with some Indy drivers this weekend. We get to go to a suite on Sunday.
Sweet.
Be a good
sweet.
time. Oh, yeah, sweet seats, baby.
No.
So we
That's
are,
awesome.
yeah, we're fired up. It's going to be a good time. Should have some good, hopefully get some interviews. I went last year, and I didn't know what I could do or couldn't do. So I was kind of scared of who to talk to, who I couldn't talk to. Well, I can talk to anybody. I can go anywhere. It does, and I didn't know that last year. I'm very follow the rules. I don't break rules. If it says don't walk on the grass, I'm not walking on the grass. I did tell a story last year where we're in the McLaren garage or on the outside of it, and they were going over the steering wheel, which infatuates you. I love that steering wheel because you can so many settings that they have on there, and you can adjust and this, that, and the other. So they're explaining it, and I couldn't find Megan, not Markle.
Not Markle.
And I'm like, where's she at? So she's talking to one of the guys in the garage. And I'm like, okay. So I'm still enthralled in this conversation about the steering wheel. And they're telling me, they can hit the turbo. It's not a turbo button. That's what we call it. Turbo button, like so many seconds per race. It's like 60 seconds, minute and a half or whatever.
Total.
Total. Yeah, total. So I'm just like, oh, this is awesome. This is great.
Unless they run over a turtle shell, and then they can't.
Yeah, no, then you're done. Then you go smaller. So I get to look, and I'm like, where's Megan? So she's like inside the garage area now. I'm like, I don't know if we can go there or not, Once again, I pay more attention to the steering wheel talk. A few minutes later, go by and I look. I'm like, where is Megan at? She is by the car that they are actively working on, talking to the head mechanic. I'm like, you can't do that. Apparently we can. So we can go in the garage while they're working on the car and start talking to people, which I'm kind of scared. That I am still scared about that part. But should be a good time. We do have all access. We can go paddock. We get free meals. And the place we sat at last year was right over the McLaren pit stall. And we could drink up there and smoke heaters. So, because the guy over it was sitting there just chain smoking. I'm like, hey, man, I smoke regularly. He's like, hey, so can we smoke up here? He's like, if we couldn't, I wouldn't be here. I'm like, well, all right then. So can we drink? He's like, you see that in my hand? I said, well, yeah, but you're in charge. He said, go get a beer. Be right back. So I got two. So should be a good time. I do hate, missing Sammy's set this weekend, but this is a twice in a lifetime opportunity to go interview some IndyCar drivers. So.
What I'm hearing is you won't be able to feed Manchester because you're going to be off doing something cool. So we're just out of luck.
That's right. But hey, like Dave said, time.
That's right.
Yep.
Amen.
And this is why I do what I do. Why I chose to open this so I could have time to do things.
That's how I made my career path is based back 100% solely on that as well.
Yeah. So it's
I'm just trying to figure out how I can put together the Travis Reed disguise costume to take his place.
you have to gain a lot of weight, Bubba.
Just look up
Challenge
Jim the Anvil
accepted.
Neidhart in the costume store. Buy that,
Okay.
and you got it.
Okay, perfect.
Get you some fake Metallica tattoos and the Jim the Anvil Neidhart Halloween costume. Got it covered.
You're good to go.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, we're looking forward to it, man. It's gonna be a good time. We got a room. We got a room at the Rutledge up there this weekend, so we don't have to drive really anywhere. So we can get boogered up and almost walk.
And safe. Be safe.
Yes, absolutely. Be safe. So
Will they let you drive one of the cars?
You did
No.
say you could do anything.
don't think I ain't gonna ask.
You can do it once.
You can do it once. Hey, there was a guy you talking about NASCAR earlier.
But this time next year he will be open that way.
There was a yes. Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah, my commissary
Maybe.
at the jail will be open, or y'all can put some money on it.
He'll be making some toilet sandwiches.
Yeah. There was a guy in a NASCAR race back in the late 70s, early 80s. He stole the pace car. It may have been like mid 80s on that one.
The doo-doo Dave sandwich would be a lot
Yeah,
different.
it's a lot effort in prison, but it pairs well with the toilet wine. That's what I hear.
And there also was a guy who entered like the Daytona 500 back in the late 70s, and nobody really knew who he was, and he got scared about halfway through the race because it was going so fast, and he's like, I can't handle this. So about halfway through the race, 3/4, whatever, he pulled off, went to the pit, put his car in the hauler, and left. Nobody ever found out who he was. So you can do it and
wow.
get away with it. I don't think I can, though. You know, this isn't the mid 70s. So, but don't think I ain't going to ask.
I
So-
guarantee they got a way to shut that sucker off now.
Guarantee you.
So this is what I think, because it's hard when all these cars are going the same speed, you know, roughly. It's hard to really get a sense of how fast it is. It's like the Olympics, and I can't take credit for this, but I'm 100% on board. I think every Olympic event, like you think like the swimming, there should be one average person competing just so you can see how much faster
Yep,
they are.
I agree with that. I like that.
Because there's
yeah,
there's
I'm
no
down.
reference. You're like, oh, well, they're neck and neck. They're but they're going 10 times faster than you or I could ever go.
Oh yes.
I think we just throw one regular person in every event just for comparison. So
I'm
we should have some guy out there with his '87 Corolla just getting lapped.
We'll even take an 87 IROC out there.
Oh,
I
yeah.
think that'd be more
We
fun.
just, yeah.
and you can drink and smoke while you do that, Travis.
you choke Bull. Be careful.
That's probably a requirement. Back then.
I thought Bull was about to pass out and die right there. All right, guys, we'll take another break. We come back. We got some burning questions for Tesla Dave, and then we're going to talk a little bit more about the car because Jimmy Newton had a few questions about it. You're listening to the Everyday Joe Show, brewed by the Common John Brewing Company on Rooster 1015 and Facebook Live.
Get the app.
Oh, you got it, Bradley.
So he's talking, I think I told you, Jimmy Newton said I could go as fast as Dave once.
So that's the other thing about it. So like a buddy of mine had a not a Charger, but what's the
Challenger?
Challenger, and like I took him for a ride, he was like, wow, he's like, I can do that, but like I can only do that so many times because he had something, a lift valve or something went bad because he drives like that.
Right.
He likes the speed, but with a moving, with an internal combustion engine, like they can't take. But I can sit there. So on the on-ramp situation, that's always the good one to show somebody what it will do because, in a couple seconds you're up to 70 mile an hour, but you're merging onto the interstate. So nobody's in front of you. Nobody's going to come out on anywhere. So that's the safest place to do it. But he drives like that. But I can do that time after time after time after time, and it's not going to blow the motors.
Right.
But you do that in, even a high performance car all the time. It's just a matter of time before you blow something.
Where
Is
can
that
you
wear
get it
and tear?
worked on? I know that's been another issue. Is
It's a
finding-
dealership in Franklin, right?
Right. So well, they won't call them dealerships. They're showrooms, service centers, because they sell direct. So technically, they're not allowed to have dealerships. Most states don't allow dealerships that are owned by the manufacturer. So, so you order, even if you go there and you're like, oh, I want to test drive this car, and you test drive and you're like, I want to buy a car. They're like, here's a tablet. We'll walk you through ordering it, but you're ordering it just like you would from your phone at your house. But yeah, so if it's something that has to be, that you have to take it to the service center, Franklin's the closest one. Some things they'll actually come out to you. They have mobile service.
Oh, okay.
So I had my garage door opener installed because the part wasn't available when I bought my car, and so the guy just came out, showed up one day. The app notified me he was coming. I set a time and he came. And he just sat there in my driveway and installed it. So some things they'll do like
Right.
that, but then other things, if you got to take it in, Franklin.
Got a question about that when we get back.
Okay.
We'll ask that one on air.
Oh, that's right. We're not. My bad. We're not on air.
No,
Sorry.
we went over a bunch on break, so I just kind of let's let it roll. They're floating though. You can.
It's just a suggestion.
Hey, there's a lot of times I've
Kind of like the speed limit.
That's right. There's a lot of times I've just skipped them. Like, well, whatever. I don't.
Oh, he made the joke. I can go fast as Dale once.
Dale, I thought it said Dave.
Dale.
I can't. I'm blind. Blind.
They work on the Bluetooth. I like that. I mean, he's not wrong though. I mean, I get updates, and that's the thing. Like, I've never had a vehicle that, it's better than when I bought it.
Right.
Like that 0 to 60 in 3 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
When I bought it, it was like 3.4,
Wow.
and the top speed was 154, I think. And then they did an update about a week later, and it was 162 and a half was the top speed. Where have you ever?
Right.
All right, guys, welcome back to the Everyday Joe Show. Brewed by the Common John Brewing Company here on Rooster 1015 and Facebook Live, episode 302. Bradley Ramsey, Bull, Tesla Dave, me, the Travis Reed. You ready for this?
I'm ready.
We got some questions for you.
Oh boy.
All right. One celebrity, living or dead, you would like to hang out with.
Well, I definitely like them to be alive when I hang out with them.
Okay.
Conversation's pretty bad with dead people. I'm sure I'm not the first person to make that joke.
No, you are.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Okay. That's easy. Well, I'd have to make a choice, but Keanu Reeves. I mean,
I think that would be fun.
That's a good. From what I understand, it's just a super nice guy too.
amazing guy.
Yeah.
A lot of people probably know. I think it's pretty common trivia knowledge that so when the first Matrix movie made big, and he made a lot of money off of that, I think he bought all the stunt people, like super cool motorcycles, and all the special effects guys got $1 million bonus because they're the ones who really made the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what people don't realize about that is every one of those guys went off and started their own special effects studio, which is why the special effects in movies has progressed so much, because you took all these really talented people, basically said, you don't have to worry about, you can go do your own thing with this money. And they created studios where they were in control and they got to really do what they want to do. And it pushed the industry so much further.
Now, I knew that he gave them bonuses, or he bought a bunch of cool stuff. I didn't know they all went and started their own. And
Yeah.
And I'm gonna slaughter this figure because I don't know the exact figure, but he was one of those actors with The Matrix and John Wick. He got took a lesser salary to get back end money.
Yeah.
And I forget, but
Yeah.
I'm wanting to say it's hundreds of millions he has donated, because he's said, kind of like Forrest Gump, there's only so much money I need.
Yeah.
And he is, the majority of the money he's made off those two franchises, he's donated to
Yeah.
charities and causes and stuff.
He is an all around, from all accounts. There's never been, I don't think there's ever been a story that's come out about him that's like, oh yeah, well, I worked with him on this set and he was kind of a jerk. And if you look back at he gets it. So like, he's forward thinking. Besides all that stuff, like which is amazing in its own right. You look back at old pictures of him with fans. He was smart.
Got to have his hands
hover
on 'em.
hands. Hover hands. He. I don't know. He's such an all around great guy. Plus, I'd love to go to the shooting range with him.
Yeah.
Jiu-jitsu. Oh my goodness! Like he's the man. Like,
They said the way, of course, he researched a lot of his roles, but they said the way that he would hold his gun in John Wick, he came up with that on his own. So they now teach that.
Oh, wow.
One of the ways he
Yeah.
moves, said that he came up with that, and some guy saw it and said, that's good.
Yeah.
And they've finessed it a little bit, but they teach that
Yeah.
now in that combat gun training thing.
That's awesome.
yeah. He's all around great guy, and can handle a firearm, can grapple with pretty good.
And he can
I
play
think he's-
guitar.
Yeah. His band Dog Star is going to play at the Brooklyn Bowl.
I tried
Really?
to get tickets to that, and they sold out so fast. I was even like, well, I'll just go the VIP route. I'll buy a lane, and the lane's like, you got to basically you got to guarantee $500 worth of food and drink. No
Right.
big deal. I mean, you can do that with 8 people
Absolutely.
easily, but you still have to buy a ticket. Well, the resale sites, those $35 tickets were like $420 each, and there were only like 4 of them available.
It's like Matt Rife tickets.
Yeah,
Tell
I mean,
Tooth he'll buy them.
I so wanted to go there for that show, but it's not going to happen. And they hadn't been, they haven't toured in forever, so it's going to be an amazing show, and
Oh, that'd be awesome.
I'll just have to try to catch it.
It's
another
on
time.
YouTube.
Yeah, there
Yeah.
you go. All right, Dave. The real question.
Okay,
You've seen the movie Dirty Dancing.
I have
You've seen the movie Roadhouse.
Roadhouse. Yeah,
Who would you rather be? Johnny Castle from Dirty Dancing or Dalton from Roadhouse?
does Dalton from Roadhouse have a health insurance? Because I don't think he does.
Probably not.
He carries his own medical records.
He
wherever
does.
But he
goes,
does
so.
carry his own medical records, which is cool. I'm gonna say I don't really want to get stabbed and shot and beat for a living.
I knew he was going to go with Johnny Castle.
I did too.
But also, well, come on. Johnny Castle can dance.
So can
I
Dalton.
cannot dance. So if I get to choose, I mean, Johnny Castle can always learn jujitsu. He can always.
Dalton can always learn to dance.
With that knee? I don't know.
Well played, sir.
No,
Well played.
like so I get, Dalton, which by the way, what his name was Dalton. You know the trivia on that. The
First name's James, right? Or something
yeah,
like that? Yeah.
the director went through Dalton, Georgia, and he liked the town and the people. He stopped somewhere to eat or something, and they were really nice to him.
Did you get
so
some
he-
carpet?
No, they didn't mention getting carpet. Maybe that's it. He got a really good deal on some flooring. But he's named after Dalton, Georgia. So
I did not know that part. Jimmy Newton just made a good point. He makes his employers pay all medical expenses.
this is true.
Because I remember when
This
he
is true.
Yeah.
He did, yeah. But
Because Johnny Castle's girlfriend had
Long-term?
to go to some back alley abortions.
it wasn't his girlfriend though.
That's true.
When his
true.
girlfriend-
This is true.
Well, I tell you, Ray Markham had the best answer for this one, and even though I didn't agree with the end of the answer, he picked Johnny Castle because Johnny Castle helped his fellow man.
Yes.
He was always helping people. He helped Baby, and
Yep.
he helped her. And I was like, for a split second, I
Mm-hmm.
almost changed my answer. I'm like, no, I'm still gonna be Dalton.
But hold on now. He helped his fellow attractive woman.
Was Jennifer Grey all that attractive though?
Yeah, what do you think
she
movie
was
wise?
attractive.
She ain't now. She got her nose redone and just
Stay away from plastic surgery.
Yeah,
I don't
and she
know.
was married to
I don't
the-
know who needs to hear that, but
I wish you would have told Meg Ryan that a few years ago.
well, that's one of my celebrity crushes.
Yes, I was in love with
Yeah,
Meg Ryan.
Still am, but it is what it is. So Johnny Castle, Tooth's not here to celebrate that victory, but that's okay.
but you're right. He really. Now I love Roadhouse, and I like the whole idea of he gave the town courage to stand up for themselves. Now he had to do some heavy lifting ahead
He
of
did because
time.
Brad Wesley. I mean, J.C. Penney went there because of him. Just ask anybody.
Yeah,
They'll tell you.
I mean, so there you go. Like, don't if you want that Chick-fil-A, don't.
So we got Chick-fil-A because
Not because of me. No. I'm not the Wesley. In this
you got the
thing.
Brad Wesley in this one.
No, but so he did help those people stand up for themselves,
Right,
which is
yeah.
a great story. And he's obviously I can't say the word, but he can handle himself.
He can't handle.
He's a
himself.
man, but he also I'm wondering about how much nerve damage he has when he can get stabbed and he doesn't even flinch.
He can get stapled without any
And it-
anesthesia.
right? Like that's
Dude,
man,
I'm down for at least
I don't
a
want
week.
to. I don't want to. I don't want that side of it for sure. But people and he taught people to let loose and have fun.
He did. And that's the thing. Like my answer is always Dalton. Always going to be Dalton.
Yeah.
But those are two of my favorite movies of all time. I love Dirty Dancing, and that's that is the highest grossing independent film of all time. Is Dirty Dancing? It's great. I love that movie.
They offered him an insane amount of money to do a sequel, and he turned it down. And I don't blame him because I mean he'll say, or he did say in interviews, like I I know what Hollywood does when they have something that works. They have a formula and they run it into the ground, and I get that. But the other reason, I mean, he messed his knee up bad.
Oh, yeah.
Like he almost didn't survive that making that movie.
Yeah.
I can't imagine making a second one because they're going to push it even further. And
sure.
he had problems. He had problems in Dirty Dancing because of injuries. So, and there were no roundhouse kicks in that one.
No, he got his butt kicked in that one. All right, we're going to have to wrap this up. Before we go, I'll tell you what, we're going to wrap it up on the radio side. Guys, we got just a few more questions for Tesla Dave here about the Tesla, of course, that I want to know as well. So, Bradley, thanks for being here, brother. Appreciate
Thank
you
you for
filling
having
in
me.
for Tooth.
Always.
Yeah, always open seat here for you. Bull,
Yes, sir.
thanks for being here and doing what you do.
Yes, sir.
Tesla Dave, appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, man, long overdue. Long overdue for you being on the show, for sure.
Well,
we appreciate it.
I've had a great time.
Good, man. I'm glad.
Well, it made sense when he said you were going to be on. I was like, well, of course. Well, why has he not been on before?
I know, that's the thing.
So can we get Brad Lee back so we can have the Bradley triple threat?
You know, I'll see him this weekend at Grand Prix. I'll ask him. I think he would do it.
As soon as you told me like, oh, he bought these chairs, it made
Yeah.
sense because a guy named Brad or Lee is a pretty good guy in my book.
But we got to
You
have
put-
a theme, and we can't talk about anything that we're experts on.
Okay.
No finance, no money raising,
Yeah.
no music or movies, just something off the wall.
Why don't we have people write some topics and we'll pick one out of the hat that we just have no idea about.
I'm going to ask him that
Okay.
100%.
Well,
All right, appreciate it, guys.
Ah,
All right, guys, for you on Facebook Live, stick around. We got a couple questions here right quick for David Bradley if you got time. A couple minutes.
always have time to talk.
All right.
Ask anybody I know.
Me too, buddy. All right, so now I got to ride in the Mustang Mach-E, which was I'm not.
I was
I'm
here for that.
That
I
was.
remember this.
I didn't get. He's like, "Hey, you want to drive it?" I had been drinking, and that's the thing with me and Dave is I wanted to ride in his car, and he's like, "Hey, man, you can drive it." But every time we see each other, we've both been drinking. Now, like I mentioned earlier, neither one of us get rip roaring drunk unless I'm at the house. I know I'm not going anywhere. Blah blah blah. So we've not been at a sober moment where I can ride in the car. So the only thing I can compare it to is the Mach-E. Pretty quick.
Yeah, Mach-E's pretty fast.
Now, Jimmy said they have a setting on there where you can do like the Jetsons. Now Jimmy said I saw that they have a speaker system for the Teslas, so it sounds like a gas engine. Now it is different than the Mach-E? Is it a plug-in or?
So there is a company, I assume this is what he's talking about. He can correct me if I'm wrong. But there is a company that makes, and there's probably several now, they make a speaker system. The one I'm thinking of actually has an exhaust pipe that looks like an exhaust pipe. It mounts on the bottom of the back of the vehicle. And so it has an external speaker that emulates, you can Bluetooth from your phone, you can select almost every engine out there. You want a Lamborghini, and I don't know all those engines, but a
Countach.
yeah, like V10, such and such. Like you can get specific because they've recorded all of these different engines. So you can be sitting at the at the red light, like with your phone revving it up. And I think that's a few $1,000s for that. The Teslas have a speaker in the front, the front trunk, or the frunk as they call it. That's an external speaker. And initially, that was one of the software updates that just one day, it's like Christmas, every week or something. They're like, oh, we gave an update, and you go in, you run down there to see what the new features are. One day, they release an update, and it's like, oh, you can select sounds or plug in a USB drive with sounds and play it from your external speaker. So, I won't go into the long story. Ask me one day about the bull that got out of not that bull.
Not that bull?
Not that bull. We'll test it on
mean
him
John?
later. See if it works the same. But so I was playing the ice cream truck music through that external
Yes.
speaker, and there's a whole story with a bull that I saved a farmer's day. Probably saved him from having to chase a bull down the road. But you used to be able to do that. You could drive around and you could play music out the speaker, and you could also replace your horn. If you were parked and you hit your horn, it would just play whatever sound you selected. So I had like the DJ air horn thing
Yeah.
and stuff like that. Yeah. But if you were driving and you hit it, it would actually blow the actual horn sound and then whatever you selected. So you could, well, the feds made them take that off.
Oh, losers.
Yeah, safety thing, yada yada yada.
whatever.
There were people who did that with the Jetson sound. So you're just driving down the road, and it's like
That's sweet.
it's funny.
Yeah.
It's funny for a while. Like after
Yeah.
a while, it gets
Gets old.
But every once in a while, I'd pull out a Common John and I'd be like, "Oh, there's kids over there. I'm gonna play the ice cream truck music because it ramped them up." They're like,
Oh,
"Ice
yeah.
cream, ice cream,
Ice cream.
ice cream." But yeah.
I'm going to disappoint these kids.
Yeah, exactly. I admit it to air on air on.
You talking about chasing a bull down the road? Have you ever chased a bull down the road? You ever chased that bull down the road?
We can.
No, it's not fun.
No,
He's quick
fast.
for his
I have
size.
chased a bull down the road.
no.
And for his bad knees, it's impressive. Don't
Good on
expect-
him.
if he's been
Hey.
if he's been drinking, which he don't do a lot anymore, but if he's been drinking, it's not fun.
No.
Is it, bull?
David's took me drinking before.
Hey, rule number 1: cardio.
Cardio. That's right.
Yeah.
Zombie Land. That's right. Jimmy Newton, he said All Girls Garage showcased it.
Oh, I'll have to check it out.
Yeah, so I think that's pretty neat how you can do that with the Teslas.
Yeah.
And I want to know this. This is what I want to ask here. Do you have a charging station at home? I'm sure.
Yes.
I'm assuming
Yes.
you do. The cost of that, because when I was looking into
Mm-hmm.
buying the Lightning, it wasn't as bad as you would think. It was
Yeah.
it was a cost, but it wasn't
Right.
that bad.
Right.
Because me and Bull, we broke it down, like as far as gas was concerned and,
Mm-hmm.
and having that installed, it wasn't that bad.
Yeah.
So
And so you can, there's several different ways you can do it. Obviously, you can actually plug it into a regular 110 outlet. Now, you're only going to get about 2 miles of range per hour of charging by
Right.
doing that. That's like the last ditch, like you messed up and you're out in the middle of nowhere and you're like, oh, well, I'll plug into this outlet to get enough range to get somewhere else. You can plug into like 50 amp or 30, like dryer plug. Mm-hmm. And like on my car, a dryer plug, which of course is 220, will put about 20 miles an hour of range into it. Or you can do the charging station, which like I have at my house. It costs me $400 to buy
Oh,
it,
that's
and
not
then
bad at all.
no,
and then you pay electrician to wire it up to your panel. But it'll do up to like 60 amps, I think, the new ones now. Mine does a little higher than that, but it's higher than the vehicle will actually take.
right.
And you get about 35 to 40 miles of range per hour of charging. So,
Oh, what?
I mean, and that's why people ask me, like, well, how long does it take to charge? Well, most of the time, 99% of the time, it takes a couple seconds to plug it in as I get out and walk past it, and then the next morning, a couple seconds to unplug it. So you don't really care how long that
Right,
takes.
because you're in the house asleep.
You only really care when you're like on a trip somewhere,
Right.
And and overall, it totally washes out. Like again, I'd go if y'all wanted to go get in the car and drive to L.A. right now.
Yeah.
I'd do it.
Yeah, well, it's good.
I mean, there's going to be several more extra hours of charging along the way,
Right.
But I wouldn't be worried about it. Like the charging infrastructure is there now. We're having to grow the electric grid system
Right.
to support this, but that's the thing. Like we have electricity everywhere. We have the power. We have the ability to generate electricity a lot of different ways, and they always say
If I've ever seen anyone that can drink as much as fast as he can, whether it's a soda,
Yeah.
water, beer, he can't. It's it's insane.
I'm not built for it.
Now, Jimmy Newton, can you make it sound like a Cam Big Block? You said they had a bunch of engines. Can you make it sound like your 68?
I mean, I can't since I don't have the speaker system, but yes,
Yeah.
if you buy one of those speaker systems, there are thousands upon thousands of motors, and you can change how it idles, how all of that, and I mean, that's a cool thing. But honestly, now I love the Firebird. I love the sound of a big block. But I also sometimes I just like the quietness of
Oh yeah, I was gonna say quiet would be.
You
what I
know,
like,
But this
yes.
relaxing is all get out,
yeah.
man.
And I mean, again, but you got to be careful because since you don't have the noise to back up the engine
Accelerate,
revving,
yes.
you know, you have to watch out for how fast you're
How
accelerating.
long did that take you to get used to?
Completely about a week.
About a week. Well, that's
About a
not
week,
bad.
and I'll tell you what, it's harder. So I have an old Dodge truck, and it is harder for me to go back to driving it than it was to get used to the Tesla.
Right.
And the reason is the Tesla does so many things for you, like letting off the accelerator and automatically starting to slow down. I have to remind myself on my
In your truck?
They're like, oh wait, no, that stop sign's coming up. I gotta actually hit the brake. And
There's a deer. I got to stop
yeah,
this truck.
well, that's the other thing, right? Like I gotta pay really close attention to where that line is. Whereas the Tesla's like, oh no, we're gonna just nudge you back over. So it is. It does not. I didn't realize how much energy driving took because you're just used to it.
Right.
You know, you learn to drive, you get better at driving, and you're spending a lot of time and energy focusing on all these different things. And then you get a car that does a lot of that for you, and then it's hard to go back. And then you realize, like, oh, this is work. This takes a lot of energy to
Right.
watch out for all these things.
Yes. Focus.
Focus. Yeah. So, and I don't. So I have autopilot and I have the full self-driving beta, which will like make turns, stop at lights, and everything for you. You still have to really pay attention because you can't trust it 100%.
Right.
And anybody who tells you otherwise, people are like, oh no, I can just, no, you have to pay attention. But you've got that safety, margin there for
Yes.
It's like always having a wife.
you. Exactly.
To let
Somebody
you
Or a
know.
mother driving with your mother.
I mean, for example, so like I'll be like, oh, I'm gonna change Spotify or whatever, and you look over at you look down at that big screen, which is great when you get stuck somewhere and you're having to wait on somebody. I don't care anymore. If somebody's like, oh, I'm running late, and you're already there waiting on me, like, that's okay, that's cool. I'll watch the last part of
Jaws.
Jaws.
Great option.
I'll finish my latest Black Mirror episode or whatever. Just watch it on the screen while you're parked somewhere.
Does
It's
it show good?
awesome. I like it. I'm a
Black
new.
Mirror?
I just
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but
Okay.
I think it's good.
I just came around to it. Just it's one of those things I never. When one
been
day I decided
suggested
to
a
watch.
bunch. I hadn't watched it yet.
It's. I like it. It'll make you wonder about technology. But
Okay.
all I say is I'm not gonna let somebody put something on the side of my head that like can let me see things because I see how bad that goes. But it's it's like it'll nag you. We're like if you're sitting there and you pay more than about 15 seconds looking at something, it'll start blaring at you that you got to pay attention to the road. So
Wow.
there's a safety margin there.
Yeah, it's definitely a selling point on that. I think the Facebook actually kicked us off.
Oh.
So
Okay.
I know it said live video in, wait for video signal.
It keeps losing something going on.
Didn't pay your bill.
No. It keeps losing the MAC address for some reason on the SMTV. I don't know why.
What? All right, appreciate it,
Those-
guys.
I don't know. Those two phrases didn't go together for me,
No,
but
it's back live. I
Is it?
found Yeah, it literally just keeps stopping and starting.
Let me put my pants back on.
Yeah.
We're going to-
Bradley, put it up.
did you clear your cookies and reboot?
No, I didn't know. I absolutely didn't know.
He was like, "Did you clear your cache?"
Have you seen him? Of course he cleared the cookies.
yeah. Look at me.
I mean,
I had Allie's cookies.
Yeah.
That's for sure. Well, yeah. I guess we're going. Well, I don't have to end it because it's
It's ended.
All right. I talked too long.
It's probably used to us ending at a certain time. It's like,